Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode here. Today we're going to be talking about the Criterion Spring Sale and that it's finally coming to an end. Hopefully you've picked up some great films along the way, but if you haven't, I want to give you some last-minute recommendations of films that I think are really good bargains. And jumping right in, I want to talk about the box set that I am most excited about, which is Y Tu Mamá También by Alfonso Cuarón. Now this is one of my all-time favorite Criterions for a list of reasons. Mainly because it's a fun film to watch, and it's a movie that I will watch time and time again. I mean that literally, because it's constantly on a loop in my office, whether I'm writing or just cleaning or anything. It just is, to me, it's like a great little picture to have constantly displaying. And I only do that with a handful of films, and this is definitely one of them. It's sort of like a French New Wave meets a road film. And I can't really think of many French New Wave road films. I mean, maybe Agnes Varda's Vagabond, but aside from all that, this is a great film because of its youthfulness. And I don't want to say too much about the movie because I really strongly encourage you to go out and watch it, because I think most people will really like this film. It's just an enjoyable film, and if you're like me and you like the kind of adventurous films where people are out on the road and having a good time, like, this is totally one of those films for you. What I will say about this box set is that I really like the booklet that comes with it. First off, you get a really good essay that really sheds an interesting light on the film and the characters and what's going on and all that. But aside from that, you get this biography that came along with the film that Alfonso Cuarón and his brother Carlos Cuarón wrote as they were making the film to give to the actors. So you're getting all this backstory to the characters and to the world that they were living in. And to me, that's just an incredible treat, because you just get more of Alfonso Cuarón's writing, which in the prose sense is great. One thing that the booklet does mention is that the filmmakers, while writing this film, we're constantly watching French New Wave films, and there's no doubt in my mind that Jules and Jim was one of them. And that leads us into our next title that we're going to talk about on this episode, which is Jules and Jim. If you think of all the French New Wave films, to me, Jules and Jim is the most similar to what is going on in Y Tu Mamá También. And that's why I really wanted to do an episode today about these two films, because I really feel like they're companion pieces. I think these two box sets go great together, mainly because of the obvious, which is that they're both dual edition formats where you get the DVD and Blu-ray if that's something that you're interested in. Now, this is the second film I've seen by Francois Truffaut, the first being 400 Blows. And right off the bat, what first stands out to me is that there's a significant difference in the style between 400 Blows and Jules and Jim. And it's kind of contrary to what you might think, because 400 Blows to me was a perfectly made film, whereas Jules and Jim feels very kind of rugged, very kind of low-budget filmmaking to a certain degree. And that's an interesting move considering the trajectory of Truffaut's career. And I started thinking, why is that? Well, mainly, Truffaut's first film, 400 Blows, he was trying to prove something. And there's a story behind that. Which goes, he was always constantly talking about how he thought he could make movies better than, the films that he was seeing all the time. And his stepdad said, well, then why don't you just make a film? Just go out and do it. And so he took him up on that, and he went out and he made this film almost to prove that he could. And in doing that, he made a masterpiece. Regardless of all that, Francois Truffaut really imprints his own style and cinematic characteristics onto this film, mainly through his kind of whimsical camera work, which you'll see in the kind of freeze frames or stop actions, which are really fun and really kind of play with the language of the film as well as the visual language of the film, and his whip pans or flash pans, if you want to call them that. These are just fun, wacky characteristics that are interesting to see, but there's also a deeper meaning behind that. And when you watch the interview between these two scholars talk about the film, you'll really learn a lot about what he was going for with these stylistic choices. And to me, that's what I kind of love about watching these Criterion bonus features, is that you watch the film and you have your own reaction to it, and then you see these scholarly professors or whoever they are talking about the film, and they have such a deep analysis of film. You're like, wow, okay, yeah, that makes total sense, but I hadn't seen it that way. And on the one hand, I can see how that might take away from the experience, but for me at this point, it just adds to it. If you're watching this after the spring sale has ended, don't be discouraged by any means. I strongly recommend you go out and pick up either one of these titles anyways. They're great films, and even without the sale price, they're really good bargains. So hopefully you got something out of this video, and I'm going to be posting another one next week. But thanks for tuning in, and I really appreciate it, and stay tuned for the next one.